Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, and I want to say Shalom to Aknakwat out there pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And this one's stemming from a topic, or more so a post that I happened to come across on Instagram Threads. If you're not familiar with Threads, I guess it's like Instagram's solution to sort of a Twitter hybrid Reddit type platform. It's more so like unto Twitter, but the post format is kind of similar in a way to like Reddit in certain ways, but they don't have subreddits or threads or something like that. There's just the threads are literally the posts, so they're more like tweets. It's weird. It's a weird little thing. It doesn't quite work. I won't be surprised if they shut it down eventually. But every once in a while, it's interesting to go on there. And really, all Threads is a controversy platform, right? You go on there, it's just people arguing and bitching about shit, and people getting bodied in the comments. And I happen to go there, as I do sometimes. Every once in a while. It was Sabbath, so I said, let's go and check out what we got. There's a lot of lessons to be had there. All right, dude, that's so controversial. Things that people say. Same with Reddit. You can get a lot of lesson topics off of social media if you're really, looking for them. Especially, TikTok and all the controversies. It's where people like to run their mouth about things that they don't know about. So, of course, you can make an edifying lesson off of these ignorant people of the world, right? So, the title of this lesson, is A Bald-Headed Pit Bull Has No Place for Haughtiness. Okay, a bald-headed pit bull has no place for haughtiness. Now, I'm sure some brothers and maybe even perhaps some sisters probably already know who we're talking about today just with that title. And of course, we're talking about no other than the N-Dub. All right, the ninja woman. All right, the black woman, Esau's pit bull. Right, and all the women of the world really right now are getting a wake-up call, but Jake women specifically, Jake referring to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and of course they're called Jake because they're Israelite women, okay, our people, all right, while our people are wicked, all right, are biblically, Israelites, the people of the Bible that have been replaced and usurped by, the so-called white man, with Europeans over in their land, right? And they're saying, oh, we're the Israelites. That's not correct, all right? The true Jews, all right, would be the southern kingdom, so-called, Negroes, all right, Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. And the Israelites, because Jews are part of Israel, would be, the northern kingdom, which would be the so-called Latinos and Native Americans. And, they've stripped that from us, okay? And while we're wicked, it's still the fact that is our lineage, all right? That is our heritage, okay? But the so-called black woman, while she is an Israelite, is wicked and is really been turned aside unto Satan, okay? And, is basically the lapdog for Esau Edom, all right? So-called, white man, a.k.a. the devil. And she likes furthering his agendas, okay? These are the same women, all right, that at the end of the day, and don't say, oh, you hate, because a lot of people like to come and say, the way I look, all right, because I look like a so-called, first of all, I'd be a so-called Mexican, all right, so get your facts straight, all right, and second on top of that, I happen to be married to a so-called black woman, so don't fucking have your bullshit, all right, most, I'm not saying every single black woman out there is a she-beast, okay? But 99% of the way, when you see the image of the black woman, what do you see? What do you see? And that's not something that's really perpetuated by Esau. I mean, they'll amplify it because they are the devil at the end of the day. But that's how the women behave. Okay, that's how the women behave. And really, where did the black woman learn that from? They learned that type of culture from white women. Okay, but that was all a big rouge because the white woman started acting like that. Then the black woman started acting like that. Then the white woman stopped acting like that. To the biggest of then the white woman, so-called white woman, Edomite woman, stopped acting like that to the masses, and they still act like that, right? They just try to hide it more so they look better than the so-called black woman when they're really not. All right, white women aren't really better than the so-called black woman at all in terms of beauty and behavior. Sometimes, all right, but not in beauty, all right? The so-called black woman, no one's going to deny you and say that that the so-called black women aren't the prettiest, all right? And Latino women as well, Native American women. It's definitely not the Edomite women, while some can be cute, right? So I want to get all that out the way because they try to make excuses. Oh, you don't think black women are beautiful? No, I think they're the best looking out of all the women, but all right. Or they'll say, oh, you hate black women. We don't hate. It's like your phone decided to time itself out, but when we say that, a lot of it's a lack of what's the word? It's a lack of accountability. Okay, accountability, and that's not just with the so-called black woman. That's with all women. Women lack accountability. So a lot of the time, they'll try to make any excuse. All right, oh, you hate women, or oh, you don't like black women specifically, or you're this, you're that. But like I was saying before I got cut off, or I was just about to say before I cut off, depending on where it cut off, I didn't go and check. But we'll talk about these thugs and these drugs. Does that mean we hate men? No. Why do we hate men? We're men, all right. But we hate the actions that are happening. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, and anybody can tell you, even the other black women that are in their sound minds to an extent, all right, will tell you that these women are out of control, and that's why these women are single. And you'll see today we actually have a woman that's bashing this other woman for the way she's acting. So you can't say, oh, we hate women when women are calling you out, when men are calling you out, when other nations of women are calling you out, when black women themselves are also calling you out. That's not a race issue, all right? That's not even really. I mean, it's not even a gender issue. It's an attitude issue at the end of the day. Okay, you have an issue with your attitude because you've allowed to be made proud, haughty, and lofty. Okay, and no one else can step to you. And because of that, it's destroyed your character, all right? Your character, all right? Your character is who you are, okay? If you don't have a good character, no one's going to want to hang around you, all right? Someone that's bitter and prideful and is violent, they have a bad character. You're not going to want to hang out with that person, not because of their race, not because of their gender, but because how they behave, okay? And while it's been attributed to gender, all right, you have a lot of these men out here that are also acting like bitch-made females as well. Okay, now because it's feministic traits, all right, they really are behaving like unto a wicked woman, okay, but not every woman acts like the woman that we're going to see today, okay. Now that we've got all the terms and conditions and pre-qualifiers and announcements out the way for people that like to make excuses, we can actually get into the lesson here. So again, the title is A Bald-Headed Pit Bull Has No Place for Haughtiness. Okay, and right at the top, you see we're going to define haughtiness and contentious, all right, or contentiousness. Okay, now it comes from this thread, all right, this thread's post, and it's by this lady named Kiss_my_abs. Okay, Kiss My Abs. You can already see there's some type of level of a pride there, and she says a man's ego hates to see me coming. Mind you, this was our first encounter. I didn't even know his name. Shaking my head. Now let's go and read the comment. Of course, she's in purple. He said, hey, I'd love to take you out on a proper date. Please send your number. She says, LOL, is this a joke? He said, serious as a heart attack. She says, can't be. I feel like your approach would be better than that, especially if you're trying to date me romantically. Where's the romance? Hell, where was the introduction? First impressions are everything with me, and unfortunately, that was yours. I hope this was a lesson learned, and the next woman that after me has a better experience than I just did. 0 stars, would not recommend, right? Now, she's just, and there was more comments than this. She was just going on and on. You can see the woman here. They love Kess, all right, as we're going to talk about what she says in a minute. This woman was being insufferable, okay? She was being, in the comments, she was like, you don't know who I am. I know who I am. I'm blah, 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 blah. You're coming at a low. I can choose who I want. Blah, 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 right? And mind you, this woman looks to be in her, 30s, all right? Perhaps even mid-30s, maybe even closer on her way to 40, all right? And she's being over here being, meticulous and picky, and you're wondering why you're single at 40 years old. You women out there, you got to realize your ass is over here fucking 38, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 47. Look, time is running out for you, and the odds are, if you're 47 as a woman, you might just die alone. Okay, and I'm being honest. You might just die alone. Now, am I saying 100% you're going to die alone? No, there might be a chance for you. There might be a 50 or 60-year-old man out there he's lonely. He said, fuck it, I'm getting bored. I need a woman. Whatever, here, I'll take her. right? You know, it's like when you go to the store and you want Cheez-Its and you can't find them. You say, fuck it, I'll take Cheese Thems, right? And I'll have them, you know. They're like the great value brand. Fuck it, man, where's the Cheez-Its? They don't have no... Sorry, sir, we're out. God damn it. All right, I'll have the Cheese Thems, right? You know, and they're you know, they don't taste as quite as good as a Cheez-It. They don't look as good as a Cheez-It, but fuck, that's what you can get, man. If it's either this or nothing from me, so I'll take it, right? So you about to be like some Cheese Thems, all right? You're about to be some cheese sticks, all right? Cheese snack dessert, all right? Or cheese snack chip, all right? Not dessert. That's what you're about to be. You're about to be well, I guess I'll get it, right? You know, I'm a little older myself, you know, so maybe a 20-year-old woman won't necessarily want to get with me, but this woman will, and maybe me, you know, whatever, get what I can get from it, you know. That's what you're about to be. You're about to be a Cheese Them. You're about to be off-brand. You're about to be get what you can get, right? And you're over here saying, oh, this and that, but no, man, there's plenty of single black females out there, man, because no man wants them. And they're over here crying like, oh, I wish I would have settled down. You're being too meticulous, man. You said, oh, this man wanted to take me out to, he wanted to take me out to go to cheesecake. He needed to take me out of somewhere fancy. Bitch, you need to calm the fuck down, okay? You need to calm the fuck down, all right? Most women, you know, my wife included, and she even, you know, asked other women, you know, they're under the impression, you know, and with some decent women out there, the cheesecake is fine. I don't know what these younger women, and, you know, it's really the younger women. The older women are trying to be like the younger women, so they're picking up those ideals, but my wife included, with other women I've heard, cheesecake's fine, right? Cheesecake, that's not a cheap place to go, right? I don't know if you've ever paid there, because I know you're fucking from the leech class, the parasite. Pay for me a dinner date and I ain't gonna ever see you again. Give me some food and leave. I know you're from that fucking, you know, type of shit with you women, but I don't know if you know the prices. Cheesecake ain't cheap, all right? Spending $20 for a fucking minuscule slice of cheesecake, all right, ain't cheap, all right? Now, if he took you to Walmart and got you a $2 slice of cheesecake, you know, first of all, you should be grateful he even got you that, because you're broke ass, you can't afford it, all right? Go and pay for cheesecake yourself. You can't. You won't, because you ain't got the money, all right? You ain't got the money. But anyway, she has no place for haughtiness, okay? She has no place for haughtiness. Let's go and get, we're going to get Proverbs 21:9, because I've been yapping too much, because, you know, I got the anger on me, right? Because these women are just completely ridiculous. It talks about contentious. Okay, we're going to read it. Proverbs 21:9, it says, it is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Well, that's good too, but I'm actually 10 lower. I accidentally typed in 9. Well, that's to a brawling woman, you know, argumentative and also a physically aggressive woman. Okay, it's better to dwell in the corner of a housetop. So this was a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake. All right, so the Lord wanted this to be read as well. All right, that's why I misinput I didn't put 19, I put 9. But yeah, it is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. So, you know, you could have a mansion, all right, a wide house. It'd be better if you were just up in a corner, you know, an attic, all right, up in the corner of an attic, all right, than to be in a big house, okay, with a brawling woman inside of it. All right, a palace with a brawling woman in it. You'd rather have, you know, basically be stuck up in the corner of an attic, all right, with no woman in there, all right, than to be in a huge house with a brawling woman that's inside, because every once in a while you're gonna have to encounter that bitch, right? And you're like, shit, here she is, all right? So I wanted to get 19. Let me skip down. Right here. This is what I wanted to get. Proverbs 21:19, it says, it is better to dwell in the wilderness. All right, you rather be naked and afraid. You know that show, Naked and Afraid? You'd rather be out there like Bear Grylls, which that whole thing was a scam anyway. You'd rather actually be out there in the wilderness right, fending off bugs and leopards than dealing with, than what? It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman. An angry and contentious woman, all right? What does contentious mean? Contentious means...
Contentious.
There we go. Contentious means causing or likely to cause an argument. A controversial woman, right? Involving a heated argument. All right, given to a person given to arguing or provoking argument, argumentative, controversial, disputable, debatable. All right, vexed, uncertain, undecided, borderline. All right, what else do we have? Heated, fierce, intense, argumentative. Right, confrontational, facetious, cavilling, pugnacious, combative. All right, antagonistic, hostile, belligerent, warring. All right, battling, threatening. Right? Cantankerous, irritable, right? Woman. Quick-tempered, right? Woman. Hot-tempered, ill-tempered, right? Bickering, bad-tempered, and wrangling woman, right? It'd be better to dwell in the wilderness than to deal with a woman like that, right? And these women are argumentative, they're combative, they're fighting, they're looking for an argument, or for some reason you're not good enough for them, or this or that, and you're over here, here it is, your fucking box stinks, alright? First of all, you ain't got no fucking hair on your goddamn head, you look like a fucking truck hit you in the goddamn face, and you're over here, 375 pounds, alright, and you think you're deserving of some great man. What the fuck? You ain't deserving of nothing, man. You ain't even deserving of a fucking second look, man. Or to quote, Eazy-E, you ain't worth a food stamp, all right? And at death row, I heard you getting treated like boot camp, as he said in that lyric. You know, it ain't worth a food stamp. You ain't worth a fucking food stamp, man. A food stamp. Not food stamps, a food stamp. Not one, right? You ain't worth a fucking food stamp over here, right? Acting like you're God's gift to man, right? Like, oh, you're the best woman ever. No, you ain't. Lose some fucking weight. Eat a salad, bitch, with no croutons. Over here acting like you're something. You're not anything, man. And you women have a wake-up call coming. All right? And before you angry-ass fucking pit bull fucking dog-faced bitches decide to comment on my page, all right, you're just going to get blocked. So you can go away. You stupid-ass Christians, oh, he's swearing. You can go ahead. This ain't for you. This is a Hebrew Israelite channel. Hebrew Israelite. Okay? Not Christian. Not Muslim. All right? None of that. Get the fuck up off the channel. Sick of dealing with your asses. We're all sick of you. All right, and the Lord's going to kill you. All right, so stop trying to point fingers when you don't even know what sin is. All right, you don't even know what sin is. You don't even know what the word cosmos means. All right, in the Greek. All right, you don't even know the Lord's true name. I'm not about to argue with a retard. All right, so you can get up off my page. All right, consider yourself pre-ordering a block. All right, that's what you're doing. So these women are contentious. Now let's go and see how this woman acts. So this woman says to her, and you can see this woman's a prettier woman. All right. Now she still has the traits of a so-called black woman, that, you can tell in her eyes she's probably combative, but, you'd rather take your chances with this woman. All right. She said, as a woman, you going on and on is insufferable as fuck. All right. She said AF, and then she did the eye roll. And this woman, this insufferable woman comes back and says, as a woman, damn, can people not tell? Now, I love this woman. I love this woman. When she came back, she said, you're the bald one. I'm pretty sure that I look more like a woman than you. And she did the smug face. Hey, man, you got her ass. You got her ass. I love that comment. I love that comment. As a woman, damn, can people not tell? Well, you're the bald one. I'm pretty sure I look more like a woman than you. Shit, man. God damn. I look more like a woman than this bitch does. Shit. Hell, man. Fucking Wesley Snipes looks more like a woman than this woman does. Look at this woman. Look at this bitch, man. God damn. Akon looks more like a woman than her. Danny Trejo looks more like a woman than this bitch. This is a post that she said. She says, then when he says, baby, anything you say, I'll do. Because I only want to make you happy. From the bottom of my heart, it's true. And she posted this. She said this and absolutely nothing else. Look at this bitch. look at this bitch. God damn. Ain't got no, looking like fucking RuPaul. RuPaul looks more like a woman than you. God damn. God damn. All right, look over here. So I'm free from the shackles, thank God. Look at this over here, looking like, what was that motherfucker's name? He was part of that. What was his name? He died. He was the guy that was doing the Passport Bros. What was his name? Black guy that did Passport Bros. I always forget his name. Not Brian Taylor, no. It was, no. Who was that guy? What was his name, man? Let's see if I can pull a black guy that talked about high value men. What was his name? Kevin Samuels. That was his name. Kevin Samuels. This bitch over here looking like Kevin Samuels. Alright? In a roundabout way. And she's doing that fucking... She's popping her collar like a man would pop her collar. Look at this. Right? Look at this. This bitch is not cute. Okay? Says, I saw you again, but I didn't feel the same anymore. And then look at this one. She said, look, she's trying to be a pick-me. Ain't nobody gonna get you. She said, traditional, older, fine black men who know how to court and want to provide and also got some salt and pepper in their goatee with a bald head. Let me know when my time is up. I'm 34, by the way. It says, putting myself in timeout because I found a 1973 attractive. You can see her. Look at here. And she got a flat ass. It ain't fat. Not a fat ass. A flat ass. Ain't nobody gonna want you. All right, I'm 34. Yeah, you running out of time, sweetheart. All right, you running out of time, okay? And I'm just being for real. All right, let's get Proverbs 27 and 15. Okay, Prov 27:15. It says here, it says a continual dropping in a very rainy day, which is actually funny because it's a very rainy day today. It says a continual dropping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Now, we already got what contentious means. Now, what does this mean? If we go and get the, let's go get the Bible Gateway and get Proverbs 27 and 15 over there. All right, so Prov 27 and 15, and we're actually going to hook this up into the GNT. All right, what is it going to tell us? It's going to break it down easier for you. It says, a nagging wife is like a water going drip, drip, drip on a rainy day. You hear bloop, 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 bloop. After a while, you're like, God damn, that shit's annoying. God damn, or it's like like a faucet. You hear the faucet, bloop, 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 bloop. Like, I'm sick of that fucking dripping faucet. Because for a while you can put up with it, but after a while it makes you damn near want to snap. It makes you want to snap, right? And that's what it's like. A nagging wife is like water going drip, drip, drip on a rainy day. And this woman over here thinks she's you're a bald-headed pit bull. You have no place for haughtiness, okay? Because you're being haughty, okay? Now let's go and define haughty since I used the word here, all right? And we're going to get that a little bit later in one of the scriptures. But haughty describes a person with an attitude of arrogance, pride, and disdain for others. Okay? Now, I'm going to go get haughty, and I put KJV out of habit, but I want to define. All right, haughty means arrogantly superior or disdainful, pride, arrogant, conceited, snobbish, stuck up, self-important, egotistical, and superior, all right, and condescending. And that's what this woman's being like. Right? And this guy even said, dude read this and let out a sigh of relief. And she said, oh, well, I bet he learned something. Bitch, you ain't learned nothing. All right? That's why you're 34 and single, because ain't no man wants your bald fucking headed ass. All right? I want dick you down with someone else's rod. Okay? I don't want you at all. Okay? Well, I don't want you either. Good, bitch. I don't want you either. Thank you for doing me a favor. I hope you don't want me. Shit. I'll let out a sigh of relief thinking that you don't want me, because that means I don't ever have to hear from any bitch like you. Right? You got to realize men are the commodity, not you. There are more women than there are men. Okay? Men are in short supply. Not you. Not you. There's a million bitches out there, all right? You can go and buy pussy, all right? Where are you going to go buy a man? You can't, all right? You can't. I live in Nevada. It wouldn't take me but a 2-hour drive to go and buy pussy. I slack you for the vulgarity, but I'm letting you women know where the men stand at this point, all right? That's why these men, these men are sick of your shit, man. All right? Why are we going to go hold you down and we got to take you out on a $200 breakfast date, a $200 dinner date? Shit, I can go and get pussy for $200 on the table, all right, in Vegas, place called Bunny Ranch, all right? They have all these escort agencies. Not that I've went, all right? Not that I need to go, but if I ever had to deal with that, I'm a married man. If I had to go and deal with that, if I had to be single again, Lord one, I don't. All right, because I love my woman, right? We love our women that we're with that act accordingly and behave accordingly. right? But you women out in the world, if I had to be out in that again, I'm not gonna date. I'd head down to somewhere and buy me a little thing, all right, for you know, a couple $100 and then be done with it. Because you say $100, you just spend that much. Yeah, because guess what? It ain't gonna account for all the money I gotta spend on all the dinner dates. It ain't gonna count on that. All for this bitch to be fucking, you know, doing some harlotry shit, you know, blowing other dudes on the DL, all right, hitting DMs up in the DL, all right, and then I find out what and then I get pissed off, and I have to be in a situation, right, where I got to calm my temper down because of some harlotous bitch, right? So you men, man, if you're single, just stay single, man. The odds are, you know, right now, look, your job is to serve Yahweh Bashim Yao Shai, not no rowdy, unruly bitch. All right, and these women, the dating scene's all fucked up, right? They're fucking, you know, the odds are you won't be able to find a virgin woman or even a woman that's only been with one other man, right? And really, a woman that's been with other men is already bad, but you'd rather be with a woman that's been with one other man than 32 other men, right? In this society, right? So, and those are running out, right? They're going to compare you to Tyrell, Javon, all right, Alex, all right, Martine. They're going to be comparing you with Henry and Larry and Jacob and John and Jesse, all right, and Phil, all right. And then you go, well, he did it this way. Well, he did it this way. When I was Phil, he made more money. When I was with James brought in more than that. Oh, well, Larry was more handsome, man. You know, you're going to be constantly competing with this bitch's 32 other dick buddies, all right? And you're going to be wiener pals, all right, with these men. That's almost a form of homosexuality, as the apostles say. Because here it is, you know, these women partake and take on a part of these men, all right, and they really have chimerized, all right, with these men's semen inside of them. So really, you're like, you know, wiener pals with like 30 other men out there. That's a little gay, right? That's a little gay. This person says, hey, this guy came pretty respectful. Let me try to embarrass him on social media for clicks. She said, who did I embarrass? Y'all don't even know this man. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we know him or not. All right? Because you're over here trying to demonize this guy when he came perfectly, you know, he didn't come with, he didn't come with a Riz. All right? He didn't come with a little bit of flavor. All right? But he didn't come disorderly. Hey, bitch, let me see your titties, you fine thing. All right, I'm going to lick on your ass. All right, I bet if he would have came like that, I bet you probably would have been into him. All right, oh, look, he's fawning over me. Fucking hoe. All right, Isaiah 3:16. Let's go and get it. We're sick of these women, man. We're sick of these women. Okay, and you got these women saying, oh, anytime you get, and I don't have anything from the book of Paul today, but they've even tried to demonize the Bible, you know, prophets like Paul. Oh, Paul was a real prophet. Why? Because he talks about women? Yeah, shut your bald ass up, man. Your bald ass, weave wearing, sew-in wearing ass, all right? Ain't nobody want to hear you, man. Ain't nobody want to hear you. I ain't going to listen to a bitch whose hair is falling out. Isaiah 3:16 says, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion, you know who the daughters of Zion are? The Israelite women. All right, the Israelite women, all right, specifically for really the black women, right, Southern Kingdom, are haughty. We already got what haughty means: pride, arrogantly disdainful, superior, thinking they're superior, right, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes. What is wanton? Go and look that up. Wanton, define. Okay, wanton means in a cruel or violent action, deliberate or unprovoked. Dated, this is the term because it says dated. It says sexually unrestrained, having many casual sexual relationships. Licentious, all right, immoral, promiscuous, hoe, shameless, whorish woman, right? It says with and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. You know, walking pridefully, essentially, right? Verse 17. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion. All right, that's the head, right there with a scab. All right, there you go. That's your hair falling out. It's going to specifically mention it here in a minute. It says, and the Lord will discover her secret parts. That's your vaginas. All right, your box. All right, your kitty cats, however you want to say it. All right, it's going to talk about that here in just a minute as well. Verse 18, and it says, in that day the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their cauls and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, you know, all these things that you use to adorn yourself to make you think like you're superior, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell there shall be stink. What do you think that's talking about? It's talking about your private areas, right? Your box, man, your kitty cat, right? And instead of a girdle, a rent, you're gonna be fat. Instead of well set hair, baldness. So you're gonna have a stinky ass pussy. You're gonna be fat, and you're gonna have a bald ass head. All right, because of the way you behaved. And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. Okay. And then it talks about, in verse 25, about the men shall, fall by the sword and die mighty in the war. All right, you're going to have a lot of men dying, and their men die, all right? So that's what happens. And you're over here being haughty. When you're over here being, basically you're not fat. That's the only thing that keeps you from probably fitting this 100% to the T, okay? So, you women really have no place, all right, for pride right now. Okay, men have nobody has any place for pride, but especially you women, man. All right, that's why it's coming to the time when Jacob's trouble kicks off to its full extent. Man, you're gonna be wishing you were in the times like right now. All right, and it's already bad for you right now, but you're gonna be wishing you could go back. All right, this is verse 9. All right, Isaiah 32 and 9 through 12. It says, "Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech." You're being a careless daughter right now. You're careless. All right, you think you got all the time in the world, and guess what? You don't. You don't. Okay. Many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. We got to go to 13. Upon the land of my people shall come up thorns and briars, yea, upon all the houses of joy in the joyous city. So they're really going to be, craving the times that they had before, right? And then it goes on in verse 14. All right, it says, because the palaces shall be forsaken, the multitude of the city shall be left, the forts and towers shall be for dens forever, a joy of wild asses, a pasture of flocks. Until the Spirit be poured upon us from on high, and the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for a forest. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field. And the work of righteousness, where are we at here? Did we already skip it? Let me see. Bear with me 1 minute. We're in 17. Where was it? Bear with me 1 minute. I think I read past. One minute. Bear with me. I did read past it. 1 minute. That's not the one. Yeah, I guess I just didn't pick it up. I'll read it again. But no, so that was the point with Isaiah 32, 9 through 12. We got that. Flocky, I was reading past because I was contributing something to a different scripture that we already read. But it was Isaiah 3 and 26 is what I wanted to reiterate on again, right? Which was, it says, and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. All right, so that's what I wanted to reiterate. Slacky, I kept going in the past thinking, I don't know, for some reason I thought there was another verse like that in Isaiah 32. But I was just contributing it to Isaiah 32 instead of Isaiah 3 and 26. But yeah, man, so, you're going to sit on the ground being desolate, all right? And mind you, in the end days, it says 7 women shall be gathered unto one man, all right? And saying we will eat our own food and and provide our own apparel or raiment, All right, only let us be called by your name, roughly paraphrasing. So you're going to be doing anything for a man because you're going to know in those days that salvation is going to come through a man, through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. By the way, you're talking all this shit about men. All right, men this, men that, men this. And a lot of you, like this woman, if you go to her page, she talks about God. I know God's going to send me the right man. No, he's not. All right, he's a man. All right, and you're over here with all this issue and animosity towards men, not realizing, well, you should realize, it's obvious, that the Lord's a man. So if you talk shit about men, how do you think the Lord, who's a man, is going to feel about that? Right? He ain't going to think of you so kindly. All right? So a bald-headed pit bull has no place for haughtiness. You women need to start examining yourselves and realize why you're single, man. You're wicked because the Lord ain't sending you a right man. All right? And you get with these shit men, all right, that are out there because a wicked woman is giving a portion to a wicked man. All right? And vice versa. Okay, a wicked woman's going to be given a wicked man, and a wicked man's going to be given a wicked woman. Now, sometimes in this truth, you might have a hell where you might be sent a woman who was nice, and then she starts becoming evil all of a sudden, right? You might have that, and that don't make you evil. That's just a hell you got to go through, right? But, these people out in the world, they're sent evil men. Here it is, I don't need no blah, 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 blah. And you get with a drug dealer ass man because you're wanting someone that makes all this money, and you quick change, all right? And you're over here wondering why you got with a bad man. Because... all right, you're a bad woman, and that's why. But you won't examine yourself. All right, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of controversy in the comments on this one. All right, hopefully they won't. Hopefully there won't even be a peep. All right, but any type of comments, like any type of videos like this, the women and the Captain Save-A-Hos usually come out the woodworks. But that's a lesson. That's all we have. All right, a bald-headed pit bull has no place for haughtiness. You women that are 34, 40, 50, and single, you don't really have time to be picky right now. Right? You really don't have time. He wants to take me to cheesecake and not this expensive. Right? It's already expensive, all right? Stop being picky. You're going to drop a man because, first of all, he didn't say, hello, milady, or something fucking crazy, and he offered cheesecake instead of Jean-Paul Huangsadia, all right? Whatever, some crazy fucking name like that where you got to have a booking in advance for a week, all right? Here it is. You've been talking for 3 days. How the fuck was he? Well, you're supposed to have a pre-booked date. All right, I want to go and have a $300 steak. Well, guess what? You ain't going to have a no-dollar steak because ain't no man going to be dealing with your ass. Okay? So that's where we're going to close out. Lord willing, it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.